The circle is cast, the tea is poured, we're sat and we're ready to yap. Welcome back to Yapping Oracles. Today we're here with Chelsea, who is a past life hypnotist, professional witch, and witchcraft educator who takes with her a lifetime of experience to help her clients get to the next level of their lives. Whether they are working on themselves, working on their craft, Chelsea is here to serve. As a past life seer, she also sees into your past life with you, validating what your visions are right then and there. Working as a professional witch, she delights in doing cord cuttings for the public. Working with Chelsea is an activating ritual. She can't wait to see you. As always, all of Chelsea's links are in the description. For now, let's start our episode off by pulling an oracle card. Today I'm using the Sacred Grounds Oracle deck, which is my newest oracle, and I think is so pretty. I
Ooh.
got this actually from a longtime client who was like,
Oh,
this has saint statues and plants on it. It's you. I sent it to you. And I was like,
that's
thank you
so
so much.
nice. Oh my God. I love that.
Ooh, our card of the day is Cultivate. Let's see if we can get it to focus.
Oh my God. That's been coming through so big for me. Cultivating.
Awesome. The saint pictured is Saint Lucy, I believe. Either
Oh
that or
my
Saint
God.
Bridget. I can't tell.
Okay.
But she does have a crown or like a halo of light bulbs, which I think
I
is very modern Catholic.
I love that. I just sent an email to my mailing list.
Uh-huh.
It was a channeled message from my guide, Annabella.
Okay.
And it was basically like cultivating.
Yep.
What are the things like, why are you so worried about the future when you are the one that cultivates it, when you are the one that can steer
Ooh,
your future? You are the driver. I know. I was like, thank
that's a
you.
good message.
It was a
Damn.
great message. It was a great message. And then I pulled the Three of Wands
Ooh.
and I
Yep.
was like, this is perfect.
Yep.
And I put that in there too this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then yesterday in Tarot Support Group, Kaitlyn Grana
Mm-hmm.
was talking about basically like one of the prompts that we had was like, what is your seed? And what is the thing
Ooh.
that you are cultivating, basically?
Okay.
So now cultivation
Full
has been
circle.
like really, really big the last couple of days. I'm like, ooh, cultivate.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I love that Cultivate is coming up right now, especially like as I'm sure most of you watching know, I am an avid gardener. I'm constantly growing shit.
Ah,
And like right now, I think is the least cultivating time that I have because like there's not a lot to like actively tend to, I guess,
mm,
if you will. It's like kind of a waiting game right now between like just waiting for fruits and stuff to like ripen
right.
or be ready to harvest. So I think it's like an interesting card to come up seasonally, but like that message of intentionally preparing like soil and seeds, both like literally and as a metaphor for like life
Right.
choices, I think is evergreen.
Yeah. No pun intended.
Maybe a few puns intended.
Maybe maybe a little pun.
All right. Before we fully dive into our yap sesh, I gotta ask, what's in your cup? What's the tea?
The tea for today is a Colombe coffee. I think that's how you say it. And it's a cold brew with oat milk, draft
Ooh.
latte, 140 milligrams of caffeine, baby.
All right. Hell yeah.
In the can. We need it. We
Felt.
need it.
I'm a bit of a beverage goblin today, so I have like iced coffee. That's
Love
just like brown sugar latte, lactose-free milk. Got a little bit of like room temperature water with a sprig of rosemary in it,
Oh
and
my God,
then
a sprig.
some like iced tea I made that's like mostly ginger and peppermint. This is
I
actually my
love
first
the
time trying it. Let me see.
I love the glass. That is like an offering to yourself.
Oh, it's an offering.
It's an offering. It's toasty.
Whew. I boiled ginger for about like 20 minutes and then I let it just like steep in like the pot on the stove for like another
Oh.
30 and then I poured all of that into a pitcher and let it steep overnight in the fridge. So this is
I
like
love it.
the most
Oh,
intense.
you're a kitchen witch, aren't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I make crazy ass tea.
I love it. I love it. Oh my
My
God.
partner constantly like jokes that I drink soap, I don't drink tea. And I'm like, you know what? You're fucking right. I do drink
You're
soap.
right.
Like, my nighttime tea is just like so much lavender. I have like an infuser that's not technically an infuser. It's a strainer for sauces, so it's really fucking big.
Right.
And it holds like a quarter cup of just like dry herbs. So I'm
Mm.
putting like multiple tablespoons of lavender and multiple tablespoons of
Oh,
like
you're
peppermint or
you're making
valerian or
soap.
something.
Yes.
I'm drinking soap, but I sleep like a baby.
Oh my god, yes. That's the goal.
Truly, like, I don't know, herbal support. It meets you
Yeah,
where
we
you're
need
at.
it. We need it.
Truly. All right. So, my first question for you, Chelsea, is on your expertise, past life regression. Um, and I would first of all like to give you the opportunity to talk your shit, really, and tell us
Talking my shit.
why you are fantastic. And then I have some past life experiences that I want to share and yap
Ooh,
about.
I
So, like,
can't wait. I love hearing. So my thing is I love the reason why I love past life regression so much is I love the stories that we
mhm,
get to tell and the lives that we've lived.
mhm,
And even if it's a mundane life, like I was a farmer and I didn't do much day to day, there are still some messages that come through. Like I've had lives like that where they're like the person's like a little underwhelmed and they're like, okay, what do I have to glean from this? But some of the life lessons were like, you need to slow down.
yeah,
You need to take time to cultivate things in your life. We're
bringing it back.
bringing it back, bringing it back. So, yeah, the best part about past life regression is for me the stories and the healing that comes through. So, like, there are also past lives that come through where we maybe have had a traumatic death,
Mhm,
where we've maybe had traumatic things happen throughout that lifetime.
mhm,
And basically, I wrap that in healing and we go through and kind of quantum heal for the present
mhm.
and then like make it make sense, make it feel good for the present. That's why I love it so much. I love basically retelling the story and making it feel a lot better and comfier in the auric field. And I love the stories. That's my shit that I have to talk today.
Valid and real.
Valid.
I love the perspective of like past life experiences being stories. I think that really humanizes them in the way. I'm so sorry. Can you hear my cat scratching at my door?
I heard a little
All
but
right.
that's okay.
We got to let whichever one it is in.
I'm surprised my 3 cats aren't on my door.
Now you got to be on the podcast, little dude.
Yes.
This is
You have a
Panther.
black I have a black cat too. I have a black cat, a ginger cat, and a tabby.
Nice. I
I
have
got
a
one of each.
black cat and then a Manx is what I believe the other one is. Though, like, my vet wants to fight me on it, even though, like, I know for a fact his tail isn't amputated. Like, it was just made that way. And, like, he has a little stub tail.
Okay, okay,
He's
okay.
so cute. He has, like, the
Aw.
fattest legs in the
Oh my
fucking
god.
world because, like, cats will, like, develop different leg muscles if they don't have, like, a full tail to, like, help
That's
balance.
so interesting.
Yeah, it's like something that happens both in like species that just naturally have short tails, or like have evolved to have short tails. And then if they like get amputated, it'll usually happen. But in that case, there's like
Wow.
a lot of stress on the muscles usually. Um, but yeah,
Wow.
we think he's a Manx, and specifically, we like to research about like where the breed comes from, and they're like a ship's cat, which
Ooh.
I think is cool as fuck because he's
Yeah.
obsessed with water, but just looking at it.
Oh, just looking at it.
Just
Oh my
looking at
god.
it. Once he got paint all over himself after I like was painting our basement, and he comes up and there's like blue in his ear, and I'm like, "Oh baby, what's on your ear? That looks hurt." And I'm like, "Oh, it might be like sick or a bruise." And then I looked at him like, you motherfucker, you're in pain, aren't
You
you?
got
You
paint.
son of a bitch.
You
And then
got
I had
paint
to
on you.
like, he's so sweet. He's so good. He
Mm,
hated being clean because it's paint. I had to wash it off.
of course, yeah.
But like, we set a can of tuna in front of him and just like wrapped him in a
That's
towel.
brilliant.
And like, he just licked up the tuna and
Yep,
let me like pick at his hairs for like
that's
30
brilliant.
minutes.
That's brilliant. Well, have you ever seen the thing where, like, they're trying to cut the dog's nails and, like, they'll put peanut butter on their forehead?
Yeah. It's
Like,
just
on Saran
distracts
wrap,
him.
and they're just like, "Grr."
I have, oh my God, that's like, I have talked to my therapist about my cats a lot, so that's how this connects. But that's one of the things that she recommended for like, this is the only way I get my cat's nails trimmed. Because like Tiger has the longest claws in the world and he's
Mhm,
so silly and he doesn't know he's sharp and painful because he thinks
right,
everybody has like fur or finds this like
right.
fine. And I'm like, ow, no, that's skin. Painful. Stop.
That skin, help.
Please. But it looks like Panther lost interest in guesting on the podcast. So
Alright.
we'll get
No
back to
interviews
past life
today.
regression. We'll tell Panther's life story on another episode, I suppose.
Ugh, alright.
It's a fascinating tale. Stay tuned. Subscribe on Substack and Patreon.
Click, click.
So past life regression for me was like one of the first like real hurdles in spirituality. And I think hurdle is the wrong word, but I don't feel like finding a better one. um and like this is so funny, but like my first like successful guided meditation, like past life hypnosis, was from a fucking BuzzFeed video in like
Hey,
2015.
my first one was years ago. There was a CD,
Wow.
a compact disc, for those of you out there.
Oh my god.
It's like a small record.
God.
So, years ago, there was a CD that was at the local grocery store, like
Oh.
Pathmark in New York,
Yep.
way back when, in 2005,
Yep.
and I was just like, "Dad, can I get this?" You know, as an add-on?
Yeah.
Not a normal child that was like, "Can I have, like, an extra doll?" Or
I
I
want
was
a past life hypnosis, please.
or like, you know, or like, I don't know, lip gloss, whatever it
Yeah.
was for the time. Like, no, I was like, I'm gonna take this past life hypnosis CD and see what happens. And so
Yeah. I mean, look at you now. Like
look
perfect.
at look at m
Young
I
you knew.
knew, I knew. Well, I was so interested in it. I've talked about this before, but, like, I've always been interested in films that, like, also had a lot of, like, past lives
Mhm.
in it, like, so I'd been interested in, What Dreams May Come, where they
Yeah.
talk about reincarnation, the afterlife, very, very interested in that. On A Clear Day You Can See Forever is this musical with Barbara Streisand from, like, the '60s.
Mhm.
Again, it's about a past life hypnotist, like a psychiatrist that hypnotizes her, and she then channels all these past lives that she's had. So I'd been very interested in basically any kind of media that was like
Mhm.
past lifey.
Yeah.
Like I was very, very interested. And so I was like, this is something that I'm going to be further interested in.
Yeah.
So yeah, we grabbed that CD, and that was when I had my first past life regression. I basically put
Uh-huh.
myself under hypnosis and did it through that. So BuzzFeed is not far-fetched at all.
Fair, and like, thank you for not judging me.
No judgment,
uh,
no judgment.
it was like really silly, and I tried listening to it after I had like gotten a lot more experienced, like leading myself through meditation, doing like other guided meditations or like facilitating it, and then like experiencing other people's. And it was really silly when I went back, but the like thing that held out to me and like still I use like frequently to get out of my own head, the hypnotist leading the meditation, when she gave you like the first couple prompts, would follow it up with picture or pretend, and
Yeah,
explained like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you are picturing this and making it up in your head, if you are pretending and playing along, it doesn't matter. Like, disregard the thought of like validating this as fact right now. It's
right.
irrelevant. Picture, pretend. And I'm like, oh fuck. picture or pretend. And the way that
Right.
unlocked so much, like,
Yes.
just freedom and autonomy has
Right.
stayed with me, I think, throughout my entire spiritual life.
Yes, it releases the idea that you have to know for sure. And that's why in my past life regressions, once I realized that I could see into the past life with my clients,
Hmm.
when I realized I could do that, like once I finally like got off script and was channeling it,
Yeah.
um, that's when I found out. And that's when I realized I was like, wait a minute, I'm envisioning this. And so during the regression, I just started spitting it out like I'm seeing a table, I'm seeing a person sitting on the couch, and they're like, "I'm seeing that too." Like, so I had no idea that that was a thing that
Yeah.
could happen. I knew that I was accessing my psychic skills. I knew that, I was a medium in some way, like, I
Mhm.
knew all of these things, but I didn't know that I could necessarily, like, latch onto somebody else's past life with them
Yeah.
and see it and validate it. So
Yeah.
that's the best part, like being able to validate it for someone that otherwise would, you know, it helps to release that fear that this isn't real.
Mhm.
Um, Being able to validate it for someone else and be like, listen, no, like you're really seeing this with me.
Yeah.
I'm really here. So you saying that like the pretend kind of like unlocked that. I think in a lot of ways it unlocks that for my clients too,
Yeah. That's
for
really
sure.
beautiful. I think that's also just something rather unique. You don't hear a lot of like hypnotists talk about like, I'm there in the vision with you. I'll validate this, like share what I see and provide additional insight. Especially because like I think doing a lot of guided meditation alone can lead to a feeling of kind of isolation and just like the experience at least I've had is like, how do I describe this like crazy ass like metaphorical vision that I had to somebody else who wasn't there? So like
Yes.
the
Yes.
idea of like somebody was there, somebody did see it is like, okay, cool. That's really
Right.
validating and like, oh God, it feels homey to me. It's just like
I
comforting.
totally get it. No, well, I've had a reading by you and you described like this person as a blade of grass
Oh,
once. Yeah,
damn.
you probably don't remember
I
it
do
because
not.
I don't remember anything that I channel for anyone. And then they're like, "Do you remember this thing?" And I'm like,
Nope.
Oh, sweetheart. Oh no. I don't even remember it directly after I channel it. You have to remind me." Like
Truly. God, and I love that that's a commonality between a lot of mediums is like, this message was not for me. I internalized none of it. I don't remember a damn thing. You're lucky if I was
Yep.
even 50% present.
I did a reading the other day and they were like, "That was so profound. Say it again." I said, "What did I just say?"
Real. Oh my God.
I was like, I don't know what I
I
just
don't
said.
know.
I
If you
don't
missed
know.
it, you missed it.
You
Sorry.
missed it, sorry." And then they had to remind me and I was like, "Oh, right, 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 right. I got this."
And get back on track and like
Get
try to
back on
say it
track.
again.
Yep.
Okay. I still want to like share. I have two past life experiences that I did
Ooh,
off this like same video. I'll
love
go
it.
in order of experience. This was at a time where like I was starting to figure out like what effectively amplified or helped me access like my spiritual or like psychic gifts. So
Mhm,
like this was bath ritual like heyday. I would have like I had a bathtub and like this is when I was like living with my family still, so it was like my childhood bathtub, but like in the corners of each I would set like a candle and then like an elemental representative. We're like casting a circle, we're calling the corners.
mhm.
um this was also a time where I would like use different saints in these positions also, which I think is really fascinating. And like I don't know, Christo-paganism class coming 2026. We'll get there.
Love it.
Um,
Yes.
I got like four more things to write. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get
Um,
there.
my first past life experience was of being a Spanish poet, which I was like, that makes sense. Um, this guy was like obsessed with his hat and his cafe, and I'm like, I love that I'm autistic in all of my lives. Like, good for me. Okay. And he was like, this is my hat, this is my chair and my table at the cafe that I go and sit at, and I have my coffee and I write my stuff on parchment. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, Parchment, like, come on, Quill, let's go.
Come on, Quill.
And he was like, I have really like curly hair. And like, it was a big thing for him that like he had long hair and he was like match thin. And I was like, you unpack that for yourself, baby, whatever. The vision that he ends up taking me through is of like a feeling of unsatisfaction and being like left wanting.
Mhm.
And he's like, the scene he described was like an average day where he's like, I'm going to my cafe, I'm sitting at my table, I'm writing my poetry, the shtick, the routine. And he shows after he like finishes writing a poem and like he expresses that like this thing that I wrote was like the goal of all previous writing. Like this
Oh,
thing, I finally did it. I did it. And then he shows like standing up like with the poem to like walk away or something, and he ends up getting like shot in the chest and like
see,
falls down and dying.
it's traumatic.
It
The
was, and
traumatic
like,
stuff this is
oh
why
my
people
god,
get afraid to do past life regressions.
it was intense. I like, the pain in my chest was crazy. I could
Whoa.
just feel like heat on like the periphery of what I assumed is a bullet wound. Just like, have you ever like got a match in like the center of a piece of paper and like it burned a circle and then the circle spread? That's how
Yes,
it felt.
yes, yes, wow.
That was crazy. I was so like, oh my god, at the time, like
Right, right, right,
trying to pull out
yeah.
of it, like, oh god, please, I don't want to die.
Help me.
Um, only to like realize like it was a vision, bitch. Chill, you're not gonna die.
Right,
Like
right,
it's
right,
fine.
you're
You're good.
okay.
You're good. Take a breath. Um, and like his big thing, and I treat him somewhere between like a spirit guide and like a past life because like I don't know.
Yes.
Time
Oh
is
my god.
relative.
Well, this is what I do because after we have a past life regression, we've made contact with most likely in more times than not, it's an ancestor.
Yeah.
It's an ancestor that you were.
Yeah.
So, it's usually that.
Yeah.
I think it's just because of the work that I do. Like, I do a lot of ancestral elevation, a
Mhm.
lot of ancestral healing, a lot of, like, lineage healing. That might just be because it's me, because of, like, what I do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if, like, every past life regressionist, like, who can do these things, like, also does ancestral healing and things like
Yeah.
that. But anyway, I digress. Um, but yeah, so I don't know where I was going with that at all, but
I don't know. If your process for like past life regression doesn't have like, I think you have a real opportunity to do like multi-phase work, which I find really
yes.
fascinating. So like I don't know how it works. I've never gotten a reading from you or anything like that. But I love the idea of like, here's our initial meeting and like meditation. Let's do a like healing session. Let's do like a final session just because that seems like
Yes.
you just have such integrated ideas for what you can offer and how you like want your clients to find healing or support in this
Mhm.
that I like.
Right.
I just think you're cool and that going through a process of
Thank
transformation with you
you.
would be really powerful.
Thank you. It is, and, it's again, it's like, "Wow, I can do these things," It's one
Yeah.
of those things. It's like, "Really? I channeled this?" Like, I really can help you in this way? I
Yeah.
think that it's so astounding, and I learned so much just from going into these past lives with these people that come to me, and you just you know, these things that you never expect to come up,
Mhm.
like, and I think it's really deep when an ancestor comes up. This is what I was gonna say, but when an
Okay.
ancestor comes up and you then can honor that past life
Yeah.
ancestor and also possibly have to elevate that soul.
Yeah.
So what I do is I work with people in helping them elevate their soul during the regression, and
Mhm.
then, what I'll do is I will ask them to get a candle and just pray to that spirit for the next several days and kinda do their own elevation in their own time. And people can now come to me for ancestral elevations as
Mhm.
well for their own ancestors and things like that. But still, if somebody is longing to do it themselves and feels capable, it's just a great way to kind of like take the reins and put it into your own hands and
Yeah.
get your own healing on. So yeah.
God, that's so cool. I no other past life regressionist talks about like engaging with whoever you meet, the
The
ancestor,
spirit.
the spirit. Like, and I think that's so cool because first of all, it's something that I was like, I'm gonna do it because I'm cool and smarter than everybody else, which like not true, but still funny. Um because like that spirit now, I still like call upon him when writing.
Yes.
I have a poetry book just like completely unpublished, unfinished, that's like dedicated to him.
Oh, that's so
And so
beautiful.
I'm like, baby, when you're ready for like success to publish your masterpiece, hit me up. You know how to find me.
I love that. That's
And like,
so powerful.
I tried for a long time to force it. And like most artists, he was like, no, my time, I'm not ready. And I was like,
Right.
all right, honey, like whatever you want. It's your prayer book.
Whatever you need, baby.
It's good. Um, I think he's like one of my more high maintenance past life spirits.
I love that. I love that
uh,
though. That's so cool.
it
That
is.
and this is why I do what I do,
Yeah.
like, so that people can connect with that spirit, and I've had many people come back to me and say, like, "I end up channeling this person when I need X, Y, and Z, when I
Uh,
need this, when I," like, it's so important to continue a relationship with that spirit
yeah.
and to, like, see what you can get from them. Yeah.
It's really a powerful practice that I just think so often goes neglected.
Yes, right, because usually after the regression, it's like, "Okay, let's throw this out,"
Yeah.
Whereas, like, we can, like, work with this spirit, we can use this spirit.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
I will like quickly segue into my second past life story share.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
And this one is a lot shorter of a vision. Once again, in my like bath ritual era, which like I think is important for me because a lot of the sensory stuff comes from like having that sort of numb feeling from being in warm water. So like,
Mhm.
don't drown if you steal that idea, or don't sue me if you do. I guess. Um,
If you do drown.
if you do drown, like, don't call me, dead or alive. Don't sue me. Um, this like second vision I had was of being a farmer, which I was like, I chuckled really hard when you said that earlier, and I was like,
That's so
how the
funny.
fuck did you
Yep,
pick
I've
up
had
on like
one farm
cultivate
life.
farmer? And I'm like, raise your hand if you had a life as a farmer. Like, it was really interesting though. He was like, he was somewhere in like Mesoamerica, like pre-colonization, very like sun focused imagery. I could like feel the sun like baking my neck, and like he really loved like corn, and he would walk like through this like what I assume is like a milpa, or like a traditional growing bed with like corns, beans, and squash. Because like you could see the different things growing up, but he would run his hands through like the corn leaves, and that's like the sensation I associate him with. So now when I grow corn, I'll like go out and like run my hands through it. Like, here you go, your offering.
I love
Um,
that as an offering.
he was so cool. He like wrapped together so much shit for me. This was at a time where I was like trying to figure out like folk Catholicism and like connect like ancestral like religion to like Catholicism, and try to like sort of work back through my family line and like the history of our like colonization to like, where do
Yeah.
we come from, where do we go, Cotton Eye Joe.
Where I
um
where I come
and like this, he showed me like the vision that he had was for like a festival or something. So he was like running his hand through corn. He like picks a bunch of things, he has a bunch of produce in a basket, him and like his entire like group of people. I don't know like if it was a whole city or some shit, but they go to like the top of a mountain. They have like a special like altar, like I guess, set up on the ground. They like leave all their offerings there, and it's like overflowing with like corn and beans and squash and like copal smoke and chili and like pots of this and pots of that and water and perfume and like pulque and all kinds of things that I
Wow.
was like, okay, this is, I will, I have a class of like past lives that I put in a bucket I call shrine maiden behavior, because like that's it. What do you mean I grow corn for the gods? Like, of course I would. Like, that's so me. It makes me roll my fucking eyes. Like, oh god, had to come from somewhere.
Had to come from somewhere.
And now I grow corn, and soon I will harvest a pumpkin.
I
Oh,
love it.
I posted about this on Threads, but my like heirloom gem corn crop died out and or got
Oh.
stolen by raccoons. So like
And or
I'm desperately sad about it. Um
mm,
because like I had gotten these seeds in a like garden exchange in like pre-pandemic like 2018 or something, and it was like another queer farm had been growing the corn for like 10 years. It was their heirloom seeds, and I was like
oh,
yes, and I grew them for 7, and I like the way I was so devastated to not get a
I would be
single like
too.
cob back, because like my sanity thread with like growing corn is like I need one seed to grow one plant, and that one plant to grow one cob, and then I can replant the whole fucking thing.
Right, right.
Devastated.
Oh, that is devastating.
Broken hearted.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
That's terrible. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. We are also very sorry. We're all in mourning here. That's why I'm in black.
I came knowing I'm also wearing black.
Prepared.
Prepared.
I do have a follow-up question on past life regression for you, and
Yeah.
I'm curious specifically about like if you wouldn't mind sharing your process for hypnosis and like what that is like for you as a practitioner, like what you consider the like phases of the process and how you would lead clients through it.
Oh yeah. So my process is a little bit different. What I like to do is so normally you have like the induction, right? You have the induction, you go into the hypnosis, and the induction is just one part. But what I do is I have multiple inductions
Ooh.
so that we go further and further and further, because a past life is not one where you can just typically, I mean, unless I'm working with someone like who's deeply, deeply psychic, I normally work with people that might feel a little bit like they're second guessing their psychic nature.
Mhm.
They might not know for sure. They might be a little skeptical. So those are the people that I typically work with.
Mhm.
So unless you're already deeply psychic and like very firm in that,
Mhm.
you would not otherwise need multiple inductions. But the inductions that I do are basically like the it goes like in phases. So the first thing I'll do is I'll have you, we have our first prayer.
Mhm.
So calling in all the corners, the spirits, ancestors, guides,
Mhm.
etc. Then I'll just do imagery, like we're walking through a forest
Yeah.
and we feel, and doing the hypnosis thing where you're feeling like cold water on your toes and you're
Mhm.
feeling the warmth of the sun above you, and
Mhm.
so like other things like that. So I'll use a lot of elements of hypnosis as well,
Mhm.
where we're like getting those nooks and crannies of like the feelings of things.
Mhm.
And then what I'll do is I then have everybody go to, so we walk through a forest, then we walk through a pond. We're in another area, and we walk through an entire area that we see a pond,
Mhm.
and we see like geese and ducks, and we see swans, and they're gently pedaling, and basically this kind of gets everybody to kind of start subconsciously piecing together that like we're like the swift fish that swim in the sea,
Mhm.
and we are a part of the sea, but the sea itself is it the sea itself, kind of like you
Mhm.
are talking and walking at the same time, and you're doing two things at the same time, but they're two separate, entirely
Mhm.
distinct things. So it's starting to kind of like plant these subconscious seeds of like, you can be here listening to me right now, and you can also travel to your past life. So that's basically like what I like to do.
Mhm.
And then what I'll do is I will count backwards. I'll count from 10 to 1 and get them into a deeper state of relaxation, and an even deeper state. And then we will continue with imagery, and then sort of like your pretend kind of
Mhm.
initiation. What I like to do is I have people like turn on a TV
Ooh, interesting.
and just imagine a scene unfold if they have trouble getting their imagination started.
Mhm.
So I also do things like that. And then once we're in the past life, itself,
Mhm.
what I will do is what I there are a lot of parts actually. So like right before we're in the past life, I have everybody go up to their up down, basically their sacred sanctuary.
Mhm.
And from there, then we go to a door, and that door then leads to the past life.
Mhm.
And so the past life, we're there. Then I do a bunch of questions, prompts, like where, what are you wearing? What does it look like? What do you feel? What do you sense? What do you taste? Things like that. And then to get to each particular scene, instead of worrying about someone, these are all just methods that I started to whittle down and figure out that I needed because I was just doing it so often.
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, this is how I can kind of like fix it for this part, and this is how I can fix it in this part." So what I started to do was, instead of being like, "Okay, what do you sense next?" I was able to lead people in a more direct manner. And so what I started to do was say, "Okay, now we imagine a door in the middle of nowhere in this space."
Mhm.
And we open that door, and there's a long hallway or a corridor, and it is fashioned any way that you see. And you're walking down this hallway, and you see at the end of that hallway another door. You open that door to another scene in your life, and it's another significant or important scene in your life. And then they open that door, and then from there I can then glean into the past also and figure out, like, okay, where are we? Sometimes it's not a perfect science where, like, I am exactly where they are. Sometimes they have, like, I'm a scene ahead.
Mhm.
There have been times where I'm like, "Oh, they're already having the baby. That's not the right one.
Wrong door.
Oops. We gotta we're going backwards. Hold on, hold on." So, like, there have been times where I'm, like, a little bit ahead, and I can see certain parts of their lives before they've seen it.
Mhm.
Um, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, so when we get to the past life, there are prompts. We go through all that, and then eventually we get to the death scene where we I guide people to just view it from outside their body so that
Mhm.
they don't have that wound experience,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they're like actually feeling it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get to the death scene, and from there, what I like to do is kind of do a past life review, and we go back to the sanctuary.
Mhm.
So we go back to the sanctuary space, and from there, you're sitting across from your higher self. You're also surrounded by that spirit that you just channeled.
Mhm.
And we basically are at a white table asking questions. What
Yeah.
did we learn in that past life? How can this help us in our present life?
Mhm.
Are there messages that the past life self wants to say to the present life self? Are there messages that the present life self wants to say to the past life self? Do that now,
Mhm.
and kind of guide people through that. And it's just really deeply healing. You just
Yeah.
have like this moment of being able to like have a conversation with this past life self.
Mhm.
So basically, then from there, I do a closing. We
Mhm.
do the closing of the circle. And from there, I'll give people homework on, you might want to continue elevating the spirit. You might want to also, just be connecting with them, burning a candle for them, lighting a candle, and just tapping into their energy and using
Mhm.
that as like a source of channeling and things like that. But yeah, that's basically that's the my past life hypnosis 101.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate the,
Of course.
vulnerability to share your process.
Yeah.
I am fascinated by the being one step ahead of your client. And, that feels very intentional to me of, this is not your vision, you don't need to experience, step by step, but, I'm gonna give you a preview of, the next step ahead so you can facilitate this when it comes up.
Right, right. I think that's what was happening for
Yeah.
sure. Sometimes I get like little flashes of visions, even of the death scene, like a little bit earlier.
Mhm.
It just comes the way it comes. Like
Yeah.
I can't like necessarily say like happen chronologically, damn it. You know,
Yeah, right.
like it'll just come the way it comes, and like I'll just kind of have that information and then like
Mhm.
save it for later for when the client ends up getting to
Yeah.
that part of their life. But yeah, I think it's definitely there to help us kind of figure out what's going to come next and how to best
Mhm.
facilitate that for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Magic is so chaotic.
It's
I
so
just,
chaotic.
I think often about how a lot of, like, ritual practice or structure is meant to not necessarily, like, I don't know, control the energy, but to provide either, like, a container or a path for it.
Framework.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
And I just, like, think about that so often because, like, yeah, in most cases, like, I don't do past life regressions for, like, other people. I barely do them for myself anymore. Um, but, like, every time, like, in ritual or, like, in readings, the energy is very chaotic in, like,
Mhm.
the purest, most, like, non-judgmental form. It just simply exists.
Yes. Yes,
Um,
it exists, and
yeah,
it exists in a spectrum
yeah,
of, you just have to, like, pick these popcorn pieces out and try to
truly.
figure that out.
I God, picking pieces to try and make, like, a whole picture is very accurate to, like, what it all
Yes.
feels like.
Yes.
Deep.
We do some incredible work. It's
It's,
yeah,
I think, really intense and honestly such an immense privilege.
it is. I agree.
So, in my research process for this episode, I first of all binged your entire podcast. Please go watch, links in the description.
Oh my
Um,
god, I love it.
I
The
have
Paranormal Parlor, you
the
should be on
paranormal
it.
parlor. I
The
should be on it.
Paranormal Parlor. I would love that. I'm sure
I
you have some paranormal stories.
I do. I will not share it here, but, like, I'll give you a preview. I had, like, a child spirit with me, like, the majority of my childhood, and I'm pretty sure he was, like, supposed to be my sibling, but did not get born.
Gotcha. That makes
So,
sense. That
we'll
makes
save it
sense.
for later. He liked my toys. Also, like, everywhere I've ever lived has always been haunted, always.
Love it. Love it.
God, even my, like, current house where I live now is haunted, mostly intentionally and by design by me. Uh, but,
I
like,
did that.
when we moved in, there was, like, a spirit in the basement who I was like, "Of course there's a ghost in the basement, like, how cliche."
Right.
Um, and eventually she, like, started peeking out of corners at me, and I'm like, "Hello? I can I know you're there. Don't be a freak about
Hello.
this. What do you want? Hello?" And she was like, "Can I just have some coffee?" I'm like, "Yeah, girl, of course
Aw.
you can have coffee." And so, like,
Aw.
for a period of, like, 7 months, I would have to, like, make her coffee periodically and then just go leave it in, like, a windowsill in my basement,
Yep.
and I'm just like, "Here you go." I gave her the name Vecina, which, like, means neighbor, because, like, she's just my
I
little
love
neighbor.
it.
We just
Yeah.
coexist. She didn't, like,
Aw.
want anything. She didn't, like, need an elevation or anything. She was just like, "Hey, I'm here. Can I have some coffee and some hospitality?" And I'm like, "Yeah, girl. Come on,
You
come
get
get
it.
some." Like, duh.
Yes.
What's I guess I'm just telling the story now. What is really interesting is after, like, a few years, um, I got a letter in the mail, that was just, like, addressed to a homeowner, like, address, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Because it was, like, handwritten, and so I'm like, this is weird. What's in here?" I open it, and it's, like, a handwritten letter from someone who used to live here, who, like, her dad built the house, and,
Oh,
like,
wow.
they lived here at a time where, like, they were literally building the entire neighborhood that I live in, and she sent a picture of her parents, and her mom was the spirit in the basement, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
oh,
this
that's
makes
why."
sense.
I'm like, "Oh, that's why." And then, like, after a while, I took their picture, and I was like, "I feel like I need to do something with this, but I don't know what." And I asked my spirits, and they were like, "Bitch, they built your fucking house. That's an ancestor. Put them up on the goddamn altar." And I was like,
Right.
"Oh yeah." And I have, like, framed pictures. It's almost like a collage with a bunch of different, like, deceased relatives. And I had them just, like, kind of tucked into the frame, but outside of the glass for a
Sure,
while
yep.
because I was like, this feels like the safe space for you. And then after a while, I think she fully like moved on and just like let herself go.
Yeah.
Because they were like, hey, she needs to be put behind the glass now. Like, yeah, just put her behind, white candle, we're good. And I was
Yep.
like, wow, shout out to Vicina, who I know her real name
Missy.
now, but like, I'm not going to share
That's okay. Privacy.
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 Um, I did not expect to go that route.
That's okay. I love it.
In some of the interviews that you've done, you've talked about the Akashic records or the Akasha, and I'm fascinated by them as a concept. That is all the preamble I have for this question. Akashic records, go.
Akashic records. So I learned about Akashic records first from this book by Linda Howe. And I was skeptical
Mhm.
and I didn't like believe in it.
Fair.
But at first, and then as I got older, I started taking like psychic courses and
Mhm.
hearing about Akashic records and the Akasha and all that. Um, I believe that what we are tapping into, what I call the iCloud of
Yeah.
psychic realm, I think it just is the Akashic records. I
Yeah.
think that's what it is. Um, call it what you want to, but I think that, anytime you're tapping into mediumship or anything like that, I think it's all Akashic, quote
Yeah.
unquote, in some way. It is us tapping into this primordial realm, this kind of, third space, secret
Yeah.
third space, whatever you want to think about it. When I started tapping in, I would explain it to my friends, like, it feels like I'm tapping into the iCloud. You don't see the iCloud, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's there, and you can like get all the things you need to get from the iCloud. And the iCloud is chaotic also. And you're just kind of like, where's that picture from 2022?
Scrolling through. Ah, got it.
Scroll, 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 scroll,
Yeah.
kind of like that. But yeah, so, and then I took a class with my hypnosis teacher, Desiree Eckert. And from there, that's when I started really realizing, like, okay, I'd been tapping into the Akashic records this whole time.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I don't have like anything profound to say about it.
Valid.
Just that I went from basically knowing, like not knowing if it was a real thing or if it
Mhm.
was just something that I was making up,
Yeah.
or if I'm just reading another like kooky lady's book, who
Yeah.
knew?
Fair.
But I learned the opening prayer to it on
Mhm.
there, like through Linda Howe and things like that. But yeah, I ended up kind of making the connection that Akashic records are basically like where we're traveling to when we're in that psychic space, for
Yeah.
sure.
No, that makes sense. And like honestly, I'm just always curious. I think Akashic records are one of the terms that I put in like a new agey bucket. So I'm
It is a
always
new
like,
agey feel.
and I'm
Yes.
always just fascinated by like, what do people mean by this? Is this like literally a place or a realm you exist? Because
I
a
know.
lot of people talk about it as like, I have heard verbatim people call it the Library of Alexandria, but a spirit.
Yes.
And I was like, I love the idea of this, but I feel like that's not fully thought through as a
I
metaphor.
used
But like,
I used to think that I had to like envision a library and like open a
mhm,
book, find where the book was,
yeah,
open it up. And there's some people that do connect with the records in this way where they
yeah,
can like basically find the book and open up the book and read what. I do not do that. I am much more chaotic. I am just like, and we're in this past life. Okay.
right.
Like it's not so much like what I'll do is I will have like an intention. If somebody's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I want to go to a past life that I was a healer," or or more times than not, it's like I want to go to a past life that is going to give me the most amount of healing right now.
Hmm.
That whatever needs to be revealed will be revealed, kind of
Yeah,
thing, like generic, a general kind of reading.
yeah.
But yeah, as far as the Akashic records, also, like I again thought it was very new agey kind of idea as well. But
Mhm.
everyone, I think, accesses the records differently,
Yeah.
just as we all have kind of our own psychic senses that are
Yeah.
stronger than others. Some people can hear things a little bit better. Some people can just feel and sense things a little bit better.
Yeah.
It just depends on what your gifts are,
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I really like the framing of it as like the spiritual iCloud. I think that's like
It
really
is a
funny.
spiritual iCloud.
Like I love that. I frequently talk about like psychic information or like spiritual downloads or like whatever we're calling it. Um as like being airdropped a thought from God. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, thank
Yes.
you, drop download. Like, thank you.
Yes,
I got
that's
it.
the download. Yes. That makes so much sense. Yep, that's
I
how I feel about it.
well well, on the subject, I will say like no shade to the new agey people. I'm like not trying to be mean. I do have my like skepticism about it, and I think like we have to kind of keep our eyes and our ears pricked up for like, is this appropriative? Is this like well rooted and understood? And like,
Right. Is this culturally aligned with our own
yeah.
practices, etc.?
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I take comfort in like asking people what they mean by it, because I think even like here and now, the Akasha is less like this is the one rigid thing it is versus like this is the language or the name I put to this concept that is
Mhm.
kind of inconceivable.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in that sense, I calm down and I'm like, all right, cool. It's language, it's words. We're talking. We're
It's
just like
words.
we're
They're
making sounds at
words.
each other.
Yeah.
It's fine. We're
Like,
good.
somebody asked me the other day if I do Akashic healing, and I was
Oh,
like, I said no,
yeah.
even though I was because I don't necessarily do Akashic healing. I
Yeah.
will take you into your path.
I don't even know what that
yes,
means.
I don't.
I'm like, heal what? The only like way I can define that in my own brain is like heal your understanding of the Akasha. Would that
I
just
don't
not be
know.
like,
I just said no because it didn't
yeah,
even I was like, that's definitely not something that I do. But ancestral healing, yes. Past life healing, yes. Things like that, of course. But as far as like I would never I don't align myself necessarily with
mhm.
Akashic healing per se. But I think that that's what I am doing.
Ooh. No, and yeah, that makes sense. Like, I don't know. You're taking people through this process, and I think that there's a lot of healing in there, especially when it's like the intention. So, like,
Right.
yeah, roundabout answer, yes, do Akashic healing. Literal
Yes.
answer, no.
No.
Okay. My next question for you is about your course or container, Safe and Spellbound, which I'm fascinated by. First
Safe
of
and
all, the
spellbound.
marketing for which I'm obsessed with. I love the like dark academia cottagecore like aesthetic.
I love it so much too.
It's
It is I know, it is my favorite. And so every time I go back into doing Safe and Spellbound and branding for that, I'm like,
mhm.
"Oh yeah, this is my branding." Like every time I'm like, Stop straying from the plot, okay? Like this is your branding, just go with it. You're the green witch, you're the dark academia, like
Yeah.
that's what you are. So Safe and Spellbound is basically like a witchcraft 101 course. But I also like to intertwine some psychic elements like intuition, our psychic senses, things like that. But what I'll also do is I teach about cord cuttings. I teach about like basically everything that I offer, egg cleansings, cord cuttings, spells in general. We talk about which kind of witch you are, if you're a
Yeah.
kitchen witch, if you're an herbalist, if you're, if you're a crystal witch, a divination witch, we kind of go through what each of those witches are
Mhm.
and go from there. But my entire course is so eclectic because I have such an eclectic background.
Yeah.
And like I don't shy away from using Bible verses.
Why not?
Although I also say like you can mix and match and write your own incantations.
Yeah.
Like I'm very, very eclectic in that way because I have a very eclectic background. I grew up
Mhm.
with my mom. My mom was Jewish, my dad was Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
So just grew up with all the holidays.
Yeah.
And so I very, very eclectic. I started dabbling with like mysticism really
Mhm.
early on. Like I was very interested in Kabbalah and,
Yeah.
witchcraft and things like that. So a
And
lot of the
past
things
life
that
hypnosis CDs.
past life hypnosis CDs, normal. So yeah, this course has everything. Like Stefan from SNL. This course has everything. But yes, so I basically do witchcraft 101 for everyone, where they
Mhm.
can figure out what kind of witch they are, what kind of how to even do a spell,
Yeah.
how to connect. We do hypnosis, how to connect to the other side, the realms, like,
Mhm.
so it's kind of comprehensive. It has like a little bit of everything. And then I also teach a bit of tarot in that course as well.
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally. So because it was a 4-month course last year, I made it
Mhm.
into a 5-month course this year because I literally did a 5-month it was basically a 5-month course, but what I did was I
Mm.
called it like bonus classes. So I was like, yeah, I need to incorporate that this is a 5-month course now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if anyone is listening and wants to join in a little bit late, we only had one class so far. So if you're interested, you let me know.
The link is in the description.
The link is in the description, baby.
I am fascinated by the like concept of like what type of witch you are because like to be so real, I was on Tumblr in like 2015. So like I don't know, everybody was obsessed with it and I never and I kind of resent the concept of like what witch you are because I never found a box to fit in and I'm so
No,
jealous. Like
no, but
oh
what we call that is you're an eclectic witch.
yeah,
You're eclectic. That's what I relate to. I don't relate to, like, I'm not like, "Oh, I'm a kitchen witch," or "I'm just an herbalist,"
yeah,
or I've dabbled in it all, and my craft is very fluid, and
yeah,
I kind of sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I love working with herbs, and I love
yeah,
making, like, little spell bottles and things like that." Sometimes I love just channeling it into my cooking.
yeah,
Sometimes it's literally just in the way I clean my house
real.
and, like, sweeping from, the front to the back or the back to the
Yeah,
front, whatever you want to come into your life or get
yeah,
out. So I'm just very eclectic. I also do a lot of divination with my cards and my pendulum. So
yeah.
there's divination,
I
there's the Catholic
naturally.
part,
Yeah.
there's Jesus, there's
I
there he
think for
is.
me, my struggle is like I don't know how to draw lines between them because like
Yeah,
for me and the like spirituality or the like witchcraft or like whatever I have like experienced culturally is like non-divisible in the same way as like I don't know this like classification of witches was so like I had such a hard time like it felt like culture shock honestly because I'm like
yeah,
what do you mean you're like a divination witch or this and I'm like how do you like draw the line like where is it like I'm using a little bit of mugwort in my tea to like enhance my visions but like
right.
is that does that officially
That
push you
that
into
officially pushes
greenwood
me to being right, I'm an herbal witch now, or I'm a green witch, or
and I guess I'm just like is this I think it's really foundational in a sense of like I don't know how I practice so like having this label to try on is really supportive for
yeah,
like this is like how I can explore my identity in a like smaller space and then
exactly,
expand
exactly.
from
Yeah,
and like that's the only way I've been able to
yeah,
grapple it because like in my mind I'm not even like an eclectic witch. I'm to be honest like not even a witch in my own mind. I think it's all just like
right.
language and I'm like I don't know man.
Yes, yes, and even I grapple with, d am I really a witch? Is that really what I because I have the spiritismo element
Yeah.
now. And I'm like, "What would I identify with?" But for all intents and purposes and branding and for the fact that I am the past life witch, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a witch."
It really does become about branding for like me
I'm like
too.
I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I
I
am."
for a long time, in like my early social media days was like really comfortable with curandero as a title and I it's not something I've ever denied and to be honest, I am never beating those allegations. I'm not.
You're
I'm
not.
not.
Just
I
embrace it.
yesterday I brought home plants from the store and like made a bigger altar and like I sent
You're
my
always doing something with Santa Muerte and, like,
yeah.
cleansing her little statue there.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
"Dang, you
I
got."
she is so fucking awesome. So, I have, like I don't really talk about, like, Santa Muerte in a, like, facilitatory or, like, in a teaching sense, because I fucking hate the way she's perceived online, and I hate talking to other like devotees about with her. Like, not generally, some people are cool. A lot of the time, y'all are
Mhm.
crazy. I don't know what it is about Santa Muerte that, like, especially devotees who like make their lives about posting on TikTok about like how to do it and how to like clean the water glasses and shit. It's just, it's
Mhm.
too much. And they end up
Yeah.
becoming like fanaticized in a way that I'm like, I cannot fucking relate to this. And to be honest,
Right. You've lost me. We've
and I'm
lost the
like,
plot.
I don't think death cares about this, like, to be so
No.
real. And like,
I'm the same way. Some people will be like, is there an exact way to do X, Y, and Z? And I'm
yeah,
like, well, yes, but also, what if you didn't have those resources?
yeah,
You know, like
yeah,
spiritual baths. Spiritual baths, I've learned a couple of different ways that you have to do it with cold water.
yeah,
But I said, what if you have a warm spring nearby and that's
yeah,
the only way you do a spiritual bath?
yeah.
You
God, and
know?
like, I think it's also really important to like, again, have a like sort of grounded perspective on shit, because like, even with spiritual baths, a lot of the internet and like spiritual baths conceptually is coming out of a like Latin American, Caribbean,
Yes.
like
I
ATR, or
first
like African diasporic tradition,
Yep,
or like some other healing tradition.
I first learned about it from someone that basically her grandmother
Yeah,
was into Santeria, you
yeah,
know? So she was like, "I learned this from my grandmother, and this is how you do a spiritual bath," and as much as,
yeah,
like and I was just taught, like, Florida water, lavender water, you know, like,
yeah,
whatever colognes, and sea salt and whatever other herbs that you
yeah,
divine for the time, you know, like, I was just taught, like, a very basic kind of, framework to
yeah.
start, but yeah, like,
Like, they
it's
didn't have bathtubs, so, like, I don't know. For
right.
most cases, it's not like I'm
You're
going
just
to
putting cold
draw up
water over your
hot
head.
water. Like, do you think they have water heaters and shit? They don't got
Right,
plumbing.
right.
And, like, I think that's why it's, like, really important to have this, like, understanding of, like, yeah, culturally, these baths are done in cold water. They're poured over your head after you're clean. You air dry. You leave the herbs on. You wear white for 24 hours
Yes.
afterwards. And, like, I think it's important to, like, ground those traditions in, like, this was experienced and created in a specific place at a specific time for a specific purpose. And that, like, you were not that person at that time for that purpose in that place. Make your fucking bath.
Right, right,
Do what
right,
you got to
right.
do. If you want to throw a handful of lavender into a bathtub full of warm water, go off.
This
It's
is
not
what I'm
my
saying.
pipes. It's not my pipes.
Not my
I
not
wouldn't
my
put
problem.
lavender down it, but like, hey, you do you. On that note, if you are a witch that puts herbs in the bath, get yourself a little strainer for the drain. It
Yes,
makes the biggest difference in the fucking world. It's the best, because I love like fresh herbs in the bathtub. I love
I
the fucking
know, it's
aesthetic of
so
like
nice.
sliced fruit and petals in the bath. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I am a
I love a
goddess
good
in
rose
my
petal.
bathtub.
I love a good rose petal in the bath.
Truly, I think
A
that
little
like
citrus.
that flavor of beauty magic specifically is like really what got me into being like a witch, I think.
Yep, that I agree. I agree. Just having, like, a little bit of that glamour.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, what was like, this reminds me, because my intro to witchcraft was like, this is crazy. Actively studying witchcraft, I had acne like crazy. And I was like, I can't get rid of it for anything. So I started turning to like holistic stuff, which was like tea tree oil and lavender oil. And I was really stupid. And I put essential oils directly on my skin and was like, ow, why does it burn? We've
I'm
learned.
in
Why does this hurt? um, but like that was the silly thing that ended up like pushing me into witchcraft and spirituality. So my turnaround here is like, is there something like really simple that you're like, this was an introduction, or like really what pushed me into my current practice?
My current practice. Ooh. So here's the thing. I've known I was a witch since I was a child.
Same.
So since I was very young, I knew that I liked the magical, the fantastical, the paranormal,
Yep.
you know, all of that. So I definitely knew that. Um, and I can basically give you my first turning point. I'll give you a couple of turning points. Where like I was at a sleepover with a friend and she was like, "I think you're a witch." And I was like, "I think so too." Like I think so too. So that was like being finally called it and like
Uh,
named, that was a turning point. But for my current practice, basically I had always done spells and things like that. I have been on and off this path for decades, but
mhm,
I'd say like finally getting back into it was like 2019 or
mhm.
so. And that is when I actually bought my it's actually this tarot deck right here.
Wow.
I bought this deck, Ethereal
Uh,
Visions, and I had done tarot before in 2012, and I had, like I had cards growing
mhm,
up, things like that, but this deck called to me at this one metaphysical space and I was like, I'm going to get back into this and like
yeah.
just do this again because I did in 2012 I studied with this mentor Anna Sace, who I think is a little bit between like new agey and a little
Mhm.
bit of like her own culture. We never dabbled with like she didn't do like star seed stuff, things
Yeah.
like that. But I learned tarot from her. I learned about my psychic senses, and
Mhm,
a lot of her course is what gave me the inspiration to finally release Safe and Spellbound because I
mhm.
was like, if she could do it, I can do it now,
Help.
like for sure. So yeah, I would say the turning point for me was, anytime that I would get into a metaphysical store
Mhm.
and then see something like this tarot deck, I was like, I have to get back into it. So yeah, just like being around like metaphysical spaces, being around other psychics. Like
Mhm.
I grew up also like one of my best friends, her stepmom was a psychic, and like she would do readings in the house, and
Mhm.
I had another friend whose mom read tarot and like
Mhm.
she taught me how to make my first altar. So like I had all these like small initiations
Mhm.
basically, I would say, but the most recent one was definitely the 2019 going into the store, seeing the deck and being like, you have to get back into this. Like you have to start doing it again.
Yeah.
And that was when I just started reading from we got back from the metaphysical shop. I was with one of my good friends at the time and I started reading for her and she was like, "This is, like, really accurate. This is, like, crazy. Like,
She's
what
like,
have
"I
you
think you're a witch."
like, I think you're actually good at this," And at the time, I was still full-time voice teacher,
Yeah.
full-time, like, hiding myself.
Yeah.
I was in hiding from being a witch. I didn't want anyone to know. And then slowly I started actually making these little spell bottles that
Mhm.
looked like this.
Mhm.
And I started selling these to stores on Long Island in New York.
Mhm.
There was one little shop called C'est La Vie, another one called Altered Home. And basically, I would sell these little spell bottles
Mhm.
and they'd go because they were cute,
Yeah.
but I was like, these are spell bottles.
Like, this is real magic.
This is real. I promise you. So, yeah, that was another little turning point for me too,
Mhm.
where I started to kind of cultivate that practice again to put it out there and give to the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, lots of small initiations, I would say, is my answer.
Fair. I think the majority of people end up going through a lot of small initiations. I think that's a very, like, first of all, realistic. Like,
Common, yeah.
yeah, I think especially because, like, I don't know, the internet gets lost in a lot of things, and I think a lot lately as a response to, like, appropriative behavior has been, like, stressing initiation, and, like, obviously, if we're talking about a close tradition, duh, but that's not really the conversation we're having now, is it? Context.
Context.
Um, but, like, I think accepting that a lot of witchcraft or, like, spirituality is, like, the little initiations is really freeing. Not needing
Yes.
some, like, big revelation to happen
No,
is just,
no.
like, empowering.
Yes, yes. I mean, like, I've had and then I've also had within my own witch path, like, figured out, like, "Oh, yeah, this is what I wanna do. I wanna do past life regressions
Yeah.
for people." So that's, like, another initiation that I realized,
Mhm.
that I wanted to do a little bit more beyond, like, supporting through tarot.
Yeah.
that I wanted to start channeling and things like that. So, I mean, yeah, there were so many turning points of realizing like this is my path and this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And of course, having like a mentor like Kaitlyn Grana and like just always being able to like turn to them and be like, am I on the right path? Is this correct?
Caitlin is so good at that. And
Yes,
I'm just like truly made to be mother of mystics.
I know. I always joke, I'm like, mother who is my age.
Mom, help. Same age
Yep.
mom. Please
Same age mom.
help me. Right. So, my final question for you is a quick one. What do you feel unappreciated for? What's something that you think you're awesome at but have not gotten enough flowers for?
Oh my god. This is such a great question.
I don't think we get enough chances to toot our own horn. So, like, yeah, I'm breaking
Well,
the concept that like oracles need to be humble all the time. Like, talk your shit. What do you got?
since so I hadn't spoken about this recently.
Uh-huh.
Recently I just put it out there that I do ancestral elevations.
Uh,
Um and so but I can't necessarily complain because I haven't spoken about it yet.
fair.
So, but I will say that I am incredibly gifted with ancestral elevations because I come from a family that I actually don't speak to any of my family. So,
Yeah.
the interesting thing is that I work with elevating spirits to be wise and well again,
Mhm.
when in reality, my entire physical family is not wise or well.
Unwise, unwell.
Neither wise nor well. Maybe summer wise, but they need some elevation, and I'm gonna be there for them when they cross.
Same.
You know, like I think it's just that's the thing. So I would
Yeah.
say once I start talking about that a little bit more, I haven't gotten enough flowers for ancestral elevation.
All right. If you're watching this clip, give me a ghost emoji in the comments. We need some flowers here. Let's go.
We need flowers. We need flowers.
I love that you're good at ancestral elevation. I can't remember how I was going to connect this thought back, but I'll just say something nice. Okay. Oh, my question with that was like, do you frequently feel the experience or have the experience, I should say, of like recently deceased relative knocking on your door, like, hey, I'm ready for elevation? Like, has that happened to you or like, what's that experience like?
Not necessarily a relative of
Hmm.
mine, but, there have been, like, my close friends
Hmm.
where, I had a close friend, her father passed, and I typically never read for people who have recently passed.
Hmm.
Like, I want to get them to rest, but, in this case, he was like, "My daughter needs to know that I'm
Hmm.
real and I'm here." And so in that case, like I had to actually I didn't necessarily have to elevate him, but I had to do a reading for her
Hmm.
and basically like we came up with and this was like the very first time that I had read for someone
Yeah.
and I was like, "Listen, like I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be right or wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
Take what you will." But yeah, so my experience around that is for those that have been recently deceased, not necessarily like needing an elevation right away, but needing to share with their relatives that they're here,
Hmm.
they're okay. But typically, I don't read for people that have just recently passed.
Hmm.
But that's definitely come up. And in my own way, since doing elevations,
Hmm.
like I not that they were recently deceased, but that they had been deceased for quite a while. I had a
Yeah.
grandparent and my aunt, my grandmother passed away in like 1992,
Hmm.
and my aunt was in 2016.
Hmm.
And I learned, I just keep props going to Caitlin, but I learned ancestral elevation from Kaitlyn Grana, and that's when I started like to get into it and realize that like the more I elevate my ancestors, the better my relationship is going to be to like all of this, the work that I
Yeah.
do, my own spirituality, my own relatives that I need help
Mhm.
from on the other side. So yeah, I have a very interesting relationship with it in that sense, but I have not had it to the point where a recently deceased person is knocking on my door like, you have to elevate me right away. I
Valid.
haven't come, but like, but who's to say that that won't happen in the future? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I don't know.
Fair. I having the recently deceased like be immediately like, "Hello, I need something," is always
I
a
need
little
help.
like overwhelming.
Jarring. Yeah.
I live at a very busy crossroads, and like I would be lying if I didn't say that like people have died here. So like it's one of the reasons I
I think
actually have
you're
to have
lying.
that like Santa Muerte altar like outside because of that. Um
Wow.
and like one of the main purposes of that altar is like, all right, mommy, I need you to just like take the dead that are here, take them to rest. Like
Yep.
very psych and pump things. But what was I gonna say? Oh, the ADHD strikes again
That's okay.
over
I
there.
love this conversation.
Oh, damn it. Oh, there we go. So you mentioned not reading for the dead like right after they die and like the concept of giving them rest. Where is that idea rooted for you? Like where does that come from, or is that just like a personal feeling?
It's a personal feeling.
Mhm.
I personally just like to give space,
Yeah.
and I mean, for me also, I mean, I've learned it from several mentors
Mhm.
that, like, we wanna give them space, we wanna give them rest,
Yeah.
and let the recently deceased, like, really just rest
Mhm.
and be able to figure out, like, their path and, where they are right now and what they're supposed to be doing on the other side. So I've it's again, like, I picked it up from a lot of different
Mhm.
mentors throughout the years, and also it's become a personal belief of mine from doing my past life work, from
Mhm.
doing mediumship. I don't necessarily condone it and say like that it's a great idea, because I do think that that spirit needs to acclimate. I
Yeah.
think that they need to figure out what they're doing, and especially if they've had a traumatic death,
Mhm.
unless they had a traumatic death and immediately, like, you have to elevate that spirit because they
Yeah.
had a traumatic death, and, like, that's another thing, but, like, I don't make it a practice of being like, "Okay, I'm gonna do a reading for you now
Mhm.
for your grandfather that literally passed away, like, 2 days ago." The
Yeah.
only time I did it was when I was not as well informed,
Uh-huh.
and it was for my friend that was, her father came to me immediately and was like, "You have to read for me."
Yeah.
And that was just a specific situation. She wasn't a
Yeah.
client, she's my best friend. He knew that we were close,
Yeah.
and he was like, this is the gift that you're gonna give my daughter right
Yeah.
now."
And like
And
honestly, I have something important to say is like a good ass reason. Like
exactly, exactly, and he
valid.
just gave me so many different things, like, he was like, "Tell her about the coins that I collected, tell her about this, tell," like, he
Mhm.
gave me so much evidence to just say, like, "I'm real, I'm here, I haven't gone far away, like,
Yeah.
I'm right here for you." So yeah, that was the only instance that I did that,
Mhm.
and for good reason, like, he wanted to make sure that she
Yeah.
knew he was there.
Yeah. I thank you first of all for indulging my question.
Of
um
course.
I was just curious because you had like commented on like having a Jewish and a Catholic background, and like even
If it
within
came
like
from there.
espiritismo, there's like this concept of like you don't talk to the dead for like a year and a day,
Yes.
which I actually found out is first of all like Jewish conceptually or like spiritually. That's like where we inherit that idea is from like
Wow.
Judaism.
See, I don't
Uh,
know. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
and like that idea itself is because it takes about a year for a body to decompose in like the traditional style of like burial chamber that we had. So like I love the like idea of like, yeah, the spirit's not ready to elevate until the like body they had is completely returned to the earth.
Wow.
And like this is something that's even done in like modern burial practices, especially in like the south or in like above ground like mausoleums. Like family mausoleums are a thing, and I think we
Mhm.
sometimes are like, oh, there's just bunches of bodies stacked up or something, but like
Right.
No, they literally like put the body in there a year and a day later, or like a year later. They take a stick, they scoot the bone dust over, put the new one in.
That's how
To
it
the point where
goes.
like there are a lot of records, especially during like the Civil War in like the American South, where like bodies were just held in other places because like so
Right.
many relatives died back to
People were
back
go yeah,
that like
dropping
we
like
couldn't
flies.
put them in the mausoleum. You had to just like wait somewhere else.
Right.
Which, like, don't get me started on American death practices in the Civil War. This
Oh,
will
yes.
become Ask a Mortician in 2 seconds. But I was just curious, because like not everybody and like not every psychic has that like feeling about the dead. I definitely am like, I don't want you to have bones or nothing anymore.
Mhm.
Um, I similar to like your experience. I last year had a cousin die very, very traumatically. I'm not going to share details because it made
Sorry.
many news outlets. Um, but she had like a very traumatic death, and like her family was like very distraught. It was a big deal.
Mm.
And she like came to me one day. I was cleaning like my ancestor altar, and my mom called me and was like, oh no, so and so like had died, and she told me how. And I was like, oh, that's fucked up. And then like I get off the phone with my mom, and then I'm like slapped in the face with the like full gory visage of this person who has like just passed.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
like, oh God, I don't want to see the wound. Why do you gotta show me, man?
Yeah, right, right.
Like, oh, that's so rough. But like she didn't come asking for anything, like literally, but she was like stuck in a like,
Mhm.
which
In
like,
that
yeah,
holding place, yeah.
exactly. And I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna like elevate you, but I am going to like, we're gonna call some bigger spirits. We're gonna send you on your way.
Right.
And like something that's typically used in this technique is like either calling upon like some kind of like established psychum pump, like whatever religious practice that you got, or like for me, I have a spirit guide that I work with that like he describes his place in the universe at like sitting at the sunset. And so like he
Mhm.
comes to like lead people into that like other place.
I love
Um
that.
and
Yeah.
like I love him because he's so like gentle and calm, but like I actually have like a painting of him somewhere. I'll show you when we're done recording.
Mm.
Um but I like called on him, and he was like before I finished his like invocation prayer, he was like, "Hey, yeah, let's go. I'm here to help. Let's go, man."
You already know.
And
Yeah.
like took her hand by hand and like grabbed her hand and did like this over her face and just like cleaned up the blood
Mm.
and stuff. And then like they just walked together. And
Wow.
after that, my mom calls me and is like, so and so, like the person's dad is on the phone. He has like a question for you or something. And I'm like, of course you're on the phone with me right now. And he's
Right.
like, I need you to tell me, is she okay? Is my daughter safe? Is she fine? Is she stuck?
Oh.
And I was like, she's fine.
Right, 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 right,
No
right. This is
details.
heavy.
No details. No details.
All good.
She's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then like the spirit guide that took my cousin turned around and was like, tell him to stop calling her. And I
Mm.
was like, oh shit. And I was like, hey, make sure you don't do any more like psychic shit. Like,
Right.
please tell people to not go to like the psychic right now. And like we are a Catholic like family, like pretty hardcore. um, so like we'll do a year mass or like an anniversary mass.
Yes.
Which I'm also like, God, Catholicism is so just Judaism, but like,
Yeah. It's the same thing. There's an unveiling that happens a year later after the funeral, and
yeah,
then you can go visit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, after that, I'm like, after this point, when we do this, you can do psychic shit. You can go and get like the tarot done and talk to whatever unethical medium you want to, kid. It won't be me. And I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm so not reading for family. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, because like and we are kind of running up on time. So this will probably be in the extra Patreon episode, girthier and
Yay.
uncut. Um Um, I have no idea what I was going to say. Oh, but like I am so not reading for family anymore. I went no contact with like the majority of my family for like 4-ish years for a period of time, and let me tell you, best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
Like,
It's sometimes necessary. I
yeah,
mean, I deal with a lot of people that have to go no contact with unwell family, like breaking those generational curses.
yeah,
So totally get the need for it.
truly, and like the perspective it gave was, I think, just like
Yeah.
unparalleled. But in the past couple of years, I've been like, all right, I have like the official business. I'm all over goddamn social media. Like, yes, I will come cleanse your house or whatever.
Right. Right.
And I've done it for a couple of relatives that I'm like, hey, so I shouldn't be doing this work for you. You should be doing this for yourself. Um, you and me got the same ancestors, bitch. Like, what the fuck are you
Right. Right.
talking
Right.
about?
Right.
And like, I have one relative that's like very, very psychic, but like very frightened and like fully refuses to use like tools. Like fully rejects doing absolutely fucking anything about it. And I'm like, I went to talk to him like a few months ago, and I was like, you dumb motherfucker, you're Catholic. Just say an Our Father when you're fucking haunted.
Right. Right.
And I like tried so gently to like walk him through this of like, baby, you're psychic. The ghosts are not hurting you. And I was like, are they coming? Are they like harming you? Are you being like attacked or assaulted? And he's like, no, they're just bothering me when I'm trying to sleep. And I'm like, they need help. You're in a like in between state. It's just kind of what happens. Nobody means it maliciously. Please set boundaries. Please say your prayers before bed. Please do literally anything.
Right.
And guess like what percentage of the advice he took? Like hour-long reading, 0. Absolutely nothing. Didn't fucking give a shit. And I
Goose
was like,
egg.
okay,
Goose egg, as they say.
literally.
Nothing.
And like I over prepared for that shit too. I brought like a
Of
basket of
course.
herbs because my spirits were like,
Of
hey,
course.
there's like 2 options that this goes. Either like nothing happens and this doesn't. Tiger Jones, you bad little boy. I can't believe you. Get out of here.
Being a bad cat.
These were headphones 10 minutes ago. These were headphones 10 minutes ago.
No.
Ugh.
That's the worst.
It is. All right. We are super over time, so I will wrap this up so you can get back to being a badass witch. All right. Chelsea, as we wrap up, what is something that you wish we had more time to yap about?
Ooh. More paranormal stuff.
Ooh.
I love the paranormal.
Good thing there's
Just
another
ghosts.
podcast. You can
There's
hear
another
more about
podcast. You
that.
can shameless plug. There's
Plug,
another
plug.
podcast called The Paranormal Parlor.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming to yap with us.
I loved it.
If you are interested in working with Chelsea, you can find her at thepastlifewitch.com or at instagram.com/thepastlifewitch. All the links are in the description, along with the links to everybody that we talked about in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe on Substack and Patreon. That's all I got for you guys. I'll come up with an outro eventually. Bye.
Bye.